Why do global oil prices fluctuate? Every time you fill your gas tank, book a plane ticket, or even buy groceries, you're connected to a global force: oil prices. They rise, they fall, and sometimes they crash. And when they do, the ripple effects are felt everywhere, from major economies to your local supermarket. But why do these prices fluctuate so often and so unpredictably? Oil is more than just fuel. It's a story of global interconnectedness, shaped by politics, natural disasters, supply chains, and even human speculation. Whether you're aware of it or not, the price of oil affects nearly every part of your daily life. In this documentary, we'll explore the forces behind oil pricing. We'll uncover why these fluctuations occur, who controls the market, and how these changes ripple through economies worldwide. Let's dive in. How oil prices are determined. Oil is the engine of the global economy. Its price affects everything from the cost of transportation to food and energy bills. But what drives these prices? Supply and demand. At its core, oil prices are determined by supply and demand. Imagine this. It's the summer holiday season. Millions of people are on the move, driving to vacation spots or flying across the world. The demand for fuel increases, and with it, oil prices rise. Now picture the opposite, an economic slowdown, where factories reduce production, fewer goods are transported, and people stay home. Demand falls and prices follow suit. One striking example is the 2020 COVID-19 pandemic. With lockdowns shutting down travel and industries worldwide, demand for oil plummeted to historic lows. In fact, at one point, oil prices turned negative. Producers were paying buyers to take excess oil off their hands because there wasn't enough storage capacity for the surplus supply. B. The role of benchmarks. Oil prices aren't random numbers. They're tied to global benchmarks. The two most significant are Brent crude and West Texas Intermediate, or WTI. Think of these benchmarks as reference points, similar to how currencies have exchange rates. Brent crude represents oil extracted from the North Sea and serves as a standard for Europe and Asia. WTI, on the other hand, comes from the US. These benchmarks are essential because they provide consistency in pricing across millions of daily transactions. They also reflect factors like the quality of the oil. Lighter, sweeter crude is easier to refine and often commands a higher price. See market speculation. Beyond physical supply and demand, speculation plays a massive role in oil pricing. Traders buy and sell oil futures based on what they predict will happen in the market. Let's say there's news of a potential hurricane threatening the Gulf of Mexico, where many oil rigs are located. Even before the storm hits, traders may start bidding up oil prices in anticipation of reduced production. This speculative activity can create price swings that sometimes have little to do with actual supply disruptions. In a way, speculation acts like a magnifying glass, amplifying both optimism and fear in the market. Second major players that influence oil prices. Who are the key players shaping oil prices? The market is vast and complex, but a few influential groups and nations hold the most sway. The Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries. This group of 13 oil-producing nations, including Saudi Arabia, Iraq, and Venezuela, controls about 40% of the world's oil supply. Together, they have the power to influence prices by coordinating production levels. For example, in 1973, OPEC imposed an oil embargo on nations supporting Israel during the Yom Kippur War. The resulting shortage caused prices to quadruple, plunging the world into an energy crisis. This was a stark reminder of OPEC's ability to shape global markets. In 2016, OPEC formed a broader alliance with non-members like Russia, known as OPEC+. This coalition agreed to cut production by 1.8 million barrels per day to stabilize falling prices, showcasing the group's adaptability in response to market pressures. B. Non-OPEC producers. While OPEC dominates, non-OPEC producers, like the United States and Russia, play critical roles. The U.S. shale oil boom, driven by advanced fracking technologies, turned the country into one of the world's top oil producers. This surge in production has often counterbalanced OPEC's influence, creating a more competitive market. Russia, another major player, uses its vast oil reserves as both an economic resource and a geopolitical tool. For instance, its oil exports to Europe provide leverage in political negotiations and significantly impact European markets. Governments and policies. Governments also shape oil prices through policies and sanctions. Take Iran and Venezuela, for example. International sanctions have limited their ability to export oil, reducing global supply and driving up prices. Conversely, some governments provide subsidies for domestic production or consumption, helping stabilize prices locally but distorting the global market. Key factors behind price fluctuations. So what causes oil prices to fluctuate so dramatically? Let's explore the key factors that drive these changes. Geopolitical events. Geopolitics is one of the biggest drivers of oil price volatility. Wars, political instability, and international tensions often disrupt supply chains, leading to price spikes. During the Gulf War in 1990, oil prices doubled within weeks as production in Iraq and Kuwait ground to a halt. More recently, the Russia-Ukraine conflict created supply shortages in Europe, pushing prices to record highs. Even the mere threat of conflict can send prices soaring as traders brace for potential disruptions. Natural disasters and weather. Nature can be just as disruptive. Hurricanes in the Gulf of Mexico, for instance, often damage offshore rigs and refineries, temporarily reducing production. In 2005, Hurricane Katrina severely impacted U.S. oil infrastructure, causing prices to surge. Wildfires near pipelines or extreme winters that freeze production sites can also contribute to supply disruptions, albeit on a smaller scale. Economic crises. Economic downturns are another major factor. During the 2008 financial crisis, oil prices plummeted from $147 per barrel to just $40 as demand collapsed. Similarly, the COVID-19 pandemic caused an unprecedented drop in oil consumption, leading to a temporary oversupply and a crash in prices. Renewable energy and long-term trends. The growing shift toward renewable energy is also influencing oil prices. As countries invest in solar, wind, and electric vehicles, the demand for oil is gradually declining in certain sectors. However, this transition is still in its early stages, and oil remains a critical energy source for industries like aviation and shipping. Impact on everyday life. Oil prices might seem like a distant concern, but their impact is closer than you think. Higher oil prices mean higher transportation costs, which in turn affect the price of goods and services. From groceries to electronics, the cost of living rises with oil prices. On the flip side, when prices fall, consumers benefit from cheaper fuel, but oil-dependent economies often suffer. Countries like Venezuela and Nigeria, which rely heavily on oil exports, face severe economic challenges during price slumps. This creates a complex web of winners and losers in the global economy. The future of oil. As the world moves toward renewable energy, oil's role is changing. Electric vehicles, wind turbines, and solar farms are reducing our reliance on fossil fuels. In 2023, global investments in renewable energy surpassed those in oil for the first time, signaling a major shift. Yet oil remains vital. Industries like aviation and shipping still rely heavily on it, and emerging economies continue to drive demand. Balancing this transition will be one of the biggest challenges of the coming decades. Understanding oil pricing today is crucial for navigating the energy landscape of tomorrow. The journey toward a greener future will undoubtedly reshape how we think about energy and its costs. Conclusion. Oil prices are more than numbers on a chart. They represent the intersection of economics, politics, and human innovation. As we face a future shaped by climate change and renewable energy, oil will remain a key player in the global story, for better or worse. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to explore more fascinating content, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an update from InquisDepth. Your support means the world to us and helps us bring you even more great stories. See you in the next one.